How do you feel when you see lots of extra lines in the score? Freeze? Panic? Pretend you don't see them? Recently someone told me, when I see letter lines, my mind just goes blank. And I have to tell you that even learners who feel fairly confident with reading music may experience this. If it bothers you, in this video I will share with you my tips for reading with these extra lines so you can stay calm and confident when you see them. These extra lines are known as letter lines, and they can feel a bit intimidating. This is completely normal because we just don't see many notes written in there as often as we get to see the usual ones that are fitting nicely on the staves. The good news is that these notes are following the exact same rules as all the others. They also form shapes and patterns, and when you get more familiar with all these elsewhere on the stave, you will also feel more at ease with the letter lines. And you may start recognizing some of them just as you learned with all the others. You likely already know middle C. That's one example of a note using a letter line that you usually get to know early on. Letter lines can be a bit of a surprise, just as someone on the street suddenly saying, "Hi, how are you?" If it's someone you've only known in a certain context, like a work colleague that you only see either in the office or on the screen of a computer, it can take you a moment to connect the dots and recognize the person in front of you. But sometimes you really can't tell. If you're bad with faces, like me, or maybe if they are wearing a face mask, then you've got two options. Option number one is to openly admit you've got no idea who they are. Option number two is to engage in this skillful art of conversation and ask some vaguely probing questions and gather some more information. Believe it or not, that second method works rather well in music, so let's have a look at how could we investigate and learn more about our suspect, the letter lines. We start with looking at the context, because in many cases this can reveal some useful information about the note we're after. Let's take a look at an excerpt from my arrangement of the Ashgrove. This is the easy version of the liver harp arrangement. In these few bars you see quite a few letter lines. Let's start with the very first two that come after a section of mostly, let's call them normal notes. The last note of the previous bar will feel likely rather familiar if you've played this piece. This note appeared many times in the earlier part, and that's the D. If you're not sure what's the first note of the next bar, not on a letter line but still quite high, then you can use the line where your D is sitting and count from there. Now you found out that your note is G. Now for the rest of the notes we're going to look for some shapes and familiar patterns, kind of like what we unconsciously do when recognizing people's faces. We can see that both the G and the next two notes are in spaces, above lines. This means as each of the following notes go up, we are skipping a line. And on the harp, this means skipping a string, so even if you can't name that note, you can find it on the harp by following this pattern. So from G, we skip one string and find ourselves on B, and then from B we skip again and we land on D. The shape that we've been looking at with 3 fingers playing one after another and a string of a gap between each one of them is a very common one. And when you know that this is what it looks like, you will be able to recognize it regardless how high or how low it is. Then you only need to know 1 out of 3 notes to play the rest. Patterns and shapes is something I always mention when talking about reading music. When you're aware of them and you know where to look, you can read music so much faster. This is something I also teach in my online course, Reading Music for Harp. If you want to know more, follow the link in the description of this video. If you want to read music with confidence and learn new pieces faster, this may be something for you. When I get notes with lots of letter lines, I always take a look a little bit further into a piece and see if there are any other sections where I need to play and read these notes again. In some pieces you may come across these high notes again and again, and having a more careful look into the score can save you quite some time and also some nerves if these high notes make you feel a bit anxious. For example, in the advanced arrangement of the Ashgrove, it may be that you'll be surprised by the high notes starting in bar 44. But when you figure out just the first note of this section, it can serve you as a reference point for the ones that follow. When you can tell that from the B you go just a step up and then back down, you don't need to make a lot of effort to find those other notes. When you're familiar with your patterns, you can recognize this shape and tell your fingers to simply go 1 step up and back down. And when you look further into the piece, you will see that this pattern repeats again 2 bars later, with the note that you already figured out, the B, now being the middle one. And then you're back to the first pattern exactly as it was again 2 bars later. When you spot that, you can then keep that B as your reference point and not worry anymore about working out all these other notes. As you can see, knowing your patterns and practicing recognizing them can go a long way. So make sure to check out the links in the description of this video if you want to learn more about patterns and how your fingers can learn to automatically go to the right strings. Sometimes notes on ledger lines appear completely out of the blue, and there is not much in the context that could help us. For example, when you take a look at the ending of my arrangement of Happy Birthday, you will see that there is this high note there that's really far away from all the others. This is the end of the piece and you won't see it again, so if you're not familiar with this particular note, I would just write its name, the letter F, in the music. Now, this is something you can also do with a note that has a lot of ledger lines, 4, 5 or more. In most harp scores anyway, at this point you will either get an octave notation or a change of a clef, which is why you will rarely see more than 4 lines in harp sheet music. I read comfortably up to 3 lines, and the rest is something I just work out from the context. But it's absolutely fine if for now you maybe only recognize 1 extra line in one of the clefs and you'll take some time to work out the others. The most important thing is that when you feel a rush of panic, you can say, let me work this one out. So give yourself the time and space and everything will be well. Now, if you found this video helpful, leave a like and let me know in the comments. I will see you here for another coffee break harp very soon, so make sure you subscribe so you get notified when it comes out. Take care for now, bye!